Hey guys, welcome back to Crafts Go Bloom. My name is Krista, and today we're going to be looking at everything I crocheted in the month of January. Now there are a few things in here that I actually crocheted in December, but I will point out what those things are. As always, everything will be linked down below, and if it's too many patterns, I'll link them on a Google Doc sheet. Everything will be listed in the order that they're mentioned in this video. So let's get started. I made a whole bunch of my Mama Moran the hen pattern. And the reason I made so many of one thing is because I'm market prepping for the coming year. Found another. So I have 7 of these. These are all made in a Bernat blanket, different Bernat blanket yarns. That one was speckle. This one is tie-dye-ish. This is one of the tweed colors. This is a speckle. This is a tweed. I think this one's just baby blanket. I want to say this color is called sand, and then this is another of the tweed colors. So they come out a little bit different size-wise. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Slightly different sizes depending on how thick or thin your yarn is, like always. But this is a no-sew pattern, and it takes me less than 2 hours for sure. Somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours to make this. And the wings are no-sew, and then you surface crochet the comb on, and you just do a color change for the beak. And I have a video tutorial walking you through how to make this entire pattern if you want that. So that was Mama Moran the hen, and then I have a pattern pack that also comes with Baby Chip the chick, and you have this little matching chick, or you can make them in different colors. And I have 8 of these, so I've got those 3. And the reason I have so many of each item is because I'm market prepping, and where I live where it snows, and we kind of don't have any great markets after Christmas, like while we're waiting for spring. So there's the last 2. And this was a great way for me to use through a bunch of my yarn. I was trying to not buy any more yarn until I started filling totes with finished plushies. So that's Chip the Chick. I also have a video tutorial for that. So I'm market prepping because I know that we're going to have markets where we sell out of certain things, and I just don't want to have to rush so much in between markets over the summer. So I'm doing as much ahead of time as I possibly can. So next up, I have my tiny chicken pattern, which is like a combo of the last 2. Again, I have a video tutorial for this on my channel as well. And I have 5 of these. I really like how this color turned out. And then I placed the eyes in a slightly different spot for this tan one. So I think it has like a little more of a cartoony look to it. But this one, same thing, they're all no-sew, and you just have to tie the feet on. You make them separately and then tie them on later in the pattern. So I have a heap of chickens. And then over on Instagram, I hit 5,000 followers. So as like a thank you to everybody, I came out with another free pattern over there, and it is my keychain chicken pattern. So I have been using up my scraps like a crazy person making keychain chickens. There they all are. Let's see, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, I have 10 of these guys. I have not had a market yet, so I haven't sold these at markets, but chickens are always popular, and people usually like these like lower price point items. These will probably be $10 at markets, and I think these are going to sell just fine. I live kind of out in the country, and I have a lot of chicken fans. I make like maple chickens also, and I can never keep enough chickens in stock. So that's the last of my chicken patterns. I will have a video tutorial for the keychain chicken. It's not out on my channel as of filming this, but if it is out, or when it is out, I should say, I'll link it down below. So just check back there and you'll be able to find it, or just go check out my channel. Up next, let's look at some things I've been making in Bernat Blanket Extra. This is the Leggy Frog pattern by Not Jaded Co. I've made this a bunch of other times. I've also been making a lot of things in the new Big Twist Posh. So here it is in Big Twist Posh, and then here's the Bernat Blanket Extra. So you have like little baby frogs to hang out with the giant frogs. And I have some special safety eyes that were painted on this frog, and those are by Bat Stitch Crochet. I'll have her her Etsy shop linked below. They kind of sunk in on this particular yarn, but that's my fault and the yarn's fault. It's not the eye's fault, so I would still highly recommend them, and I'll show you some other plushies I made that have those as well. And then this is my Bull the Frog unreleased pattern. Should be out in the next couple of months, though. It should be out this spring. And I wanted to just have a giant bullfrog to take to my next market because it just looks grumpy and therefore fun. I made 2 of these octos. This is a pattern by Katie Being Creative. You can find it in her Etsy shop, and she's also here on YouTube. And I can make 2 of her octo out of 1 skein of the Bernat Extra. And then I'm also using the safety eyes. And these sort of change color. I'm not sure how well they're going to show up in the filming lights. But you can kind of see this one is like changing from blue to purple. So they're a little bit iridescent, and you can see they're not as sunken in as they were on the frog. That was really just because of where it was in that bobble stitch and all that good stuff. So I'm really happy with these. I made a giant octo like this, and it sold at my last market, so I just went ahead and made 2 because I had enough yarn to make 2. And my like normal size Bernat blanket octos sell really well, so I'm pretty certain that these are going to do fine once market season gets here. And I made 2 more of that same octo pattern. So this bottom one is in just regular Bernat blanket. I think this might be Bernat blanket brights. And then this is in the Big Twist Posh and in the extra. So I'll have like a little octo stack. I might actually stick them on a display like this just because they look cute together in the blues. The last thing I have in Bernat Blanket Extra is my cat pattern, and I wanted to try this out. I'd never tried out my cat pattern in the Bernat Blanket Extra, and I'm afraid this might be a keeper. This might not go to a market because my kids and I just love this. And I used this color yarn to make an octo in the Bernat Blanket Extra, and so it turned out the same size as those, but that one is what sold at my market. So this also looked really cute as an octo. And then here's my Bull the Frog pattern in Bernat Blanket, just a regular Bernat blanket, and you can see the size difference that you get out of these. I think I like it in these darker colors a little bit more. I think it looks a little bit grumpier. Now, I said I made some of these things in December, and I mostly just made those chickens in December, but I also made my cat pattern as like a gingerbread man cat. So that's why it's Christmassy and brown. And this is the Bernat Blanket taupe that I can only find on Amazon. And I've got a video tutorial for the cat that I'll have linked below. Up next, I have a couple more of my Chip the Chick pattern, but made in these like neon colors of Big Twist Posh. If you haven't tried this Big Twist Posh yet, highly recommend it. I really like it. It is like the same texture, and it doesn't shed. It's like the same texture as Bernat Blanket, very, very similar, just thinner. It sheds just as much as Bernat Blanket, which means it doesn't really shed at all, and it really feels the same as Bernat Blanket Brights to me, just very thin compared to that. I've also been recording more tutorials for my bird patterns, so I've recorded tutorials for these 3. I don't think they're going to be out at the time of releasing everything I've crocheted, but they'll be out soon. So I've got my no-sew duck pattern here, and then I have the no-sew goose and the no-sew flamingo. And this one was made in Bernat Blanket Ogo yarn. And then some of my other birds I made in the Posh yarn. I've got my eagle here. I love the beak on this. I like how it sticks out more than the rest of the birds. And then the mallard version. And this is a new one as of recording this. It will actually be out in a couple of days. And so it will probably already be out by the time you guys see this video. And this is the lovebird pattern, and I've made that in a couple of colors. These are my other 2 lovebird patterns that I made, and I gave them both sparkle eyes. It doesn't show up on camera very well, but the pink bird actually has like a lighter blue glitter eye, and the blue bird has a darker eye. So that pattern is out now. I also made a little posh version of the bullfrog, so same thing. I don't think that they would like actually stay on top of each other, but you can see the different sizes here. A pattern pack that I came out with recently is this groundhog and beaver pack. So as I'm recording this, it is almost Groundhog Day, which is why I wanted to make a groundhog. I was looking ahead at the calendar and like fun holidays and things that were coming up, and I was like, I really want to make a groundhog. And my son looked at it and said, well, if you give it different teeth, you know you made a beaver. I was like, no, I didn't know that. So he gets total credit for coming up with that idea. But I thought it was great and I ran with it. And I think that this is just as adorable. I think this is like one of my favorite recent patterns, just with that little face. So I also made both of these patterns in Bernat Blanket as I was filming the tutorials for those. And I think that those turned out really cute too. Here's another tutorial that I filmed for my no-sew axolotl that came out this month. And I have 2 tutorials that will be out on my channel. And for this one, I was doing things just a little bit differently. For this axolotl video, for the tutorial, I changed up my method a little bit. And for this little one in Posh, it's the same pattern, it doesn't matter, I just use different yarns. I really slowed down this video and went step by step for a brand new beginner. So if you're interested, I did one extremely slowly. Let me know if it was slow enough or if you want me to explain even more about the stitches and things. And then I did an advanced version of the video where I made this one. And I don't stop to tell you how to do like bobble stitches or anything like that. I give a little instruction on surface crocheting. But if you're an advanced crocheter or you've been making plushies for a while, then this video is probably a little more your speed. Up next, I was doing some pattern testing for an unreleased pattern of mine that I'm hoping to come out with in the spring. And I made my lion pattern in the Posh yarn, and I just think everything is turning out adorable in the Posh. I think a part of it is the big eyes and just like the lion has such a huge face anyways and this cute tail. So I'm hoping to have this one out in the spring. I have shown this in a video a few months before, so you may have seen the Bernat Blanket version I made, but it is a lot closer to being released now. Up next, I made a couple of my Triceratops pattern, definitely had to make it in Posh. I was taking the Posh yarn and going through every single one of my favorite patterns and testing it out and seeing what the sizes were like, what the proportions were like, and everything. This orange Triceratops is Bernat Blanket Brights, and that's the one that I would say the feel of the yarns is the most similar. And then I made this one in Bernat Baby Blanket Sparkle. I think you can see some of that sparkle over here. It's hard to get it to show up on camera though. Next, I have a pattern that's not mine, but it's free on Instagram and it's adorable. Highly recommend it. I cannot remember who it's by, so I'm going to have to link it below. But I made one in Posh, of course, and I think that this could be a cute little keychain size, but I think at my next market, I'm just going to have like a little basket of these $10 kind of random, just whatever I made in Posh, like a basket of just like random different things instead of making like a whole bunch of this one rubber duck unless people really like it. And then this is in the Bernat Sparkle again. So this turned out really cute. This is no-sew and I think it took me less than 30 minutes. I'm hoping that this sells well because I enjoyed making it and I think that it's going to be a great seller. Up next, I have one of my dog pattern, and I've got a tutorial for this, and somebody commented on the tutorial and said they made theirs in red to look like Clifford, the big red dog. So I had to try that, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. So if you're watching, thank you so much for that suggestion. I loved it, and I'm hoping that I have a customer at markets who catches the reference. Up next, I have another unreleased tutorial that I filmed the other day for my cat pattern, but it's a modification to make it look like a Siamese cat. I had a customer at one of my markets ask if I could make them a Siamese cat, and I had not thought of that. It was totally their idea, and I thought it was great. So I have the modifications, and at the time of filming this, my plan is to just add these modifications for free to the regular cat pattern. There's not really anything different in the pattern. It's just the different times that you need to change colors. And so you change colors for the first couple rounds, the ears, the feet, and the tail. So if you don't want to wait for it to come out, that's the only difference. Here I have an axolotl pattern. This is not my pattern, so I'll have it linked down below, but it is a no-sew pattern, and I thought that was really fun. It turned out really cute. And this is one of the first things I made in the Posh yarn, and I'm happy with how it turned out. I made one of my flower pattern that is not released yet, so I'm just teasing you with all kinds of patterns. I've talked about this one before. Again, I was just testing everything in Posh. I found another axolotl down in the tote, and this was actually my first rendition of it, where I was doing bobble stitches with color changes instead of surface crocheting, and I like how the second one turned out better. When I was doing the bobble stitches, I was struggling with making it in different yarns and having it really like twist across the pattern instead of going straight back like I wanted. So I just had to change how I designed it, but the face and the body are all the same. I have my favorite land turtle pattern here. This is a free pattern on Instagram, and I love these. They sell really well. Again, just testing things in Posh. Have you noticed a theme? Did the Posh test on my favorite pickle pattern, which is also free on Instagram, and I really enjoy this. This is one of the few paid patterns that I am showing today. And this is Wendy the Watermelon over on Etsy. But this works up in about an hour, and I really like this. It's no-sew, and especially in these neon colors, I think this is going to sell well at my summer markets. And no test of a new yarn would be complete without testing every pattern, which means making a neon Mabel the Chicken. When I made this, I didn't have the white or the gray or the brown. I didn't have any of those colors yet because my store didn't have them in stock yet. And there is no red in Posh, so I just went for it. I think it's kind of cute. I probably won't make a million neon chickens, but it was fun. I made a star, which is a little bit of, it's a free pattern on Instagram. It's not my pattern, but it's a little bit of a secret on why I made this and what it's for. So it's a little Easter egg that you get to see this right now. One of my recent tutorials on here was for my cat keychain pattern, and I made that in Posh, and it turns out a little tinier, of course, than the Bernat Blanket version. And as I'm going through my bucket here, so I run Crafts Go Bloom with my daughter. She's who came up with the name, and she is also who puts all of my keychains on. I make like the keychain chickens, and then she sticks all the chains on for me. And down here in the bucket, I found a cute little pink bee. So we also have a cute little pink bee that technically was crocheted by Crafts Go Bloom. And I think she usually follows the Crochet Grove pattern on Instagram. Speaking of Instagram, a good friend of mine on there, her name is Lauren. She recently released this pattern for this mouse, and I will try to find a screenshot and put it here for you. It was just like a gray mouse, but then there's also a version with cheese, which if you guys can see the screenshot here, this is making more sense. But then there's this version where it looks like if you give a mouse a cookie, and my ear is like popping up. So they're both supposed to lay down. I'm not sure what I did wrong. I'm definitely going to make more of this though. We love the if you give a mouse a cookie and if you give a moose a muffin, like we love that collection of books. So I was really excited to make this one, and I love his little cookie. It's just adorable. I made him in Posh, and I made the cookie in Posh as well. As you can tell, my store got in the browns and the tans and the whites, and so I now have every color of Posh. I don't need to do a review video on Posh. I like it. You're seeing all the proof right here. I have one of these sea turtles that I made in Bernat Baby Blanket, and then I think this shell is Bernat Blanket Brights. I love this sea turtle. It's my favorite sea turtle pattern though. I love this. I have it memorized at this point. I always point everybody to that specific pattern. That one's my favorite because I don't have to do any sewing. So I have one in Bernat Blanket, and I have a lot in Posh. I made every color combination that I could possibly think of, and then one of my kids said I should make a rainbow one, so I made a rainbow one. I even have darker colors, and somehow in all of that I think I only have like one classic where it has a brown shell. But I've made a ton of these. These sell really well for me in the Bernat blanket size at a higher price point. I want to say these are, I can't remember. I think that they're 30 something at markets. It's been a while. I did the math on how long it takes me to make them in Posh, and then of course my yarn costs, and I'm only going to have to sell these for $17. So I'm excited to have more of both of these, and $17 is a really good price point for my customers. So I'm thinking these are going to sell really well. I love how this pink and purple, like super girly one turned out. I have some more like baby colors, oranges and yellows. That might be easier to see over here. But just any combo that I could think of where I usually like the darker color on the shell and the lighter color on the body. And then some like more boys colors also. So I'm really excited to report back how those sell. This is everything I crocheted in January, and I don't think that we're going to have a market until April, so it's going to be a little while though. Now, last but definitely not least is an unreleased pattern that my daughter wrote, and I'm super excited to share this. She's been talking about this for a while now, and so this is her corgi pattern, and I love how this turned out. There's little ears sticking out. So this is Bernat blanket. This is Big Twist Posh, and I made this when she wasn't home and I forgot to put the white stripe right here, so I want to add that because I don't think it looks as much like a corgi as it could if it had that stripe. So I've been trying to make it in different yarns and test the pattern and see how it's doing, and then of course it had to go through the Posh test. Everything's kind of like squished down in my tote there. Same thing, I made these and forgot to put the little white line there, so I'm going to go back in and add that, but I think they turned out really cute. It has this like long body like a corgi, and this one looks a little bit like a Twinkie because all I had at the time was this yellow, and so I kind of made it cartoony. Now I have a Posh color that's more of like a tan, so I'll probably try to do that again. So that's everything I crocheted in January. Go check out my channel if you want to see more things I've crocheted in the past. I have multiple videos where I've crocheted over 100 items in a month, and make sure you hit the subscribe if you want to stay up to date on when all of these patterns and tutorials are coming out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!